was asked to do at the end of the meeting was to consolidate common threads from the December 14th meeting. And then I had a couple other items that I was asked to work for and kind of update. So in saying that, the common threads from the December 14th meeting were communications problems from Company 4, financial problems at Company 4, response concerns, legal concerns, administrative oversight and control, EMS license, recruitment and training. I can't read my writing on that one, so I'm sorry. Oh, legal questions surrounding county authority and that of an independent corporation. So, at the end of the meeting, Company 4 asked for a meeting at their station. We had that meeting last Thursday. One of the things Mr. Frazier asked for was a concrete plan by tonight. As of this evening, we have received nothing as far as the county goes of any plans or any asks from Company 4. We did meet with them. It was an hour-and-a-half meeting. The meeting surrounded around what a partnership would look like. A lot of the same discussion that had occurred 9 months previous occurred again. A lot of it focused around the ambulance and what that would look like as a county partnership. The only other thing I want to walk through, and then I'll turn it over to Chief Williams to see if he has anything else to add, is there's an updated Flint Hill service agreement summary in front of each public safety committee member at this time. One of the things we thought that was important was to crosswalk the obligations of the county and the obligations of the company and kind of where those intersected. So as we walk through this, the first obligation of the county is to aspire to fund well-equipped, trained, reliable fire and EMS services to the public. The comment to this was the Flint Hill Volunteer Fire Department revenue report run by Rappahannock County Treasurer's Office shows that the county provided almost $400,000 in contributions to the Flint Hill Fire Department to fund a well-equipped, trained, reliable fire and EMS service to the public. Item number 25 and 26 revolved around fire levy funds are to be accounted for in a separate fund, and the county is obligated to ensure public funds are expended properly for the intended purpose. Comments surrounding that was Rappahannock County collects revenue from the fire levy tax and accounts for it separately in the fire services fund. Item number 27, the county will seek to enter into and maintain mutual aid agreements with Culpeper, Fauquier, Warren, Madison, Page, and with agencies of the United States such as the National Park Service. Comment to that was Rappahannock County currently has mutual aid agreements in place with the aforementioned localities. Item number 28, the county should be responsible for procuring audit services. Rappahannock County funds audits for each fire and rescue company and the association biannually unless a need arises to audit on a more regular basis. Item number 29, the county acknowledges the rights of the companies and association to engage in lawful private fundraising activities. Apologize for my spelling there, I just did this a couple hours ago. Rappahannock County acknowledges and promotes these opportunities and also provided ARPA funding to companies during COVID when fundraising activities were not allowed to ensure that the fire and rescue companies were financially whole. In conjunction with the in conjunction with the association, the companies, and the county Public Safety Committee, and reviewed by the Fire Levy Board, the county will maintain a 5-year plan for fire, rescue, and emergency services. The county participated in past planning efforts and has excited discussions surrounding updated planning efforts. The Public Safety Committee is poised to make a recommendation to the board tonight. Item 31, during the county's annual budget process, individual companies may make requests for special appropriations. Rappahannock County accepts and is open to these submissions by the companies and often successfully funds the requests after presentations to the board. Item number 33, the county, subject to annual appropriations, shall provide insurance which shall cover damage or loss to real or personal property caused by simple acts or omissions by any company. Rappahannock County has always funded the cost of insurance and recently brought the insurance policy under a single umbrella, providing increased insurance coverage to volunteers and services to the companies, as well as saving the taxpayers $40,000. The county, subject to number 34, the county, subject to annual appropriations, shall provide insurance which shall cover injury or death suffered from the performance of authorized duties by respective company members. And it says, please see narrative number 33. The county shall assist the association in recruiting and retaining volunteers through incentives, assistance with public relations, and advertising deemed appropriate by the county association. Last year, the Flint Hill Fire Department submitted the names of 12 active members to Rappahannock County. The foregone personal property tax totaled $6,061.85, and the foregone license fees $300. The county also included taxable inserts requested citizens to consider helping their local volunteer company. Item number 36. The county shall permit the association or its representatives at the direction of the executive committee to inspect or audit the county's fire levy records as necessary to protect the interests of the public. Rappahannock County has made all fire levy reports available for the public on board docs. The county will maintain good financial practices, including asset accountability. Rappahannock County is audited annually and has had clean audits for many years. So I think that the Public Safety Committee can see that the county's lived up to its obligations under the Fire Rescue Services Agreement. Under obligations of the company shall ensure in the operations of the company, personnel and equipment is endeavored to satisfactorily meet state and national standards applicable to its activities. It is the responsibility of the company to maintain required certifications and licenses. December 21, received an email from Officer of EMS with a correction order for the EMS agency spot inspection. February 1, 22, in response to Virginia Office of EMS spot inspection, finding 14 significant regulatory violations, Rappahannock County temporarily suspended Flint Hill Volunteer Fire and Rescue Department's ability to respond when EMS calls for the services to Rappahannock County. Additionally, Dr. Jenks, Operational Medical Director, temporarily suspended all Flint Hill affiliated EMS providers' authorization to practice. March 1st, 2022, received an email with several attachments from the Virginia Office of EMS with immediate temporary suspension of EMS agencies at Flint Hill. April 1st, 2022, Flint Hill Volunteer Fire and EMS Agency failed to recertify their Office of EMS agency license. So they failed to meet that standard. Item number 49. It is the responsibility of the companies to deliver fire, emergency, rescue, medical service to the citizens of the designated response area of the companies in accordance with county dispatch and response procedures, SOPs, and SOGs established by the association. On February 19, 2020, a letter addressed to the Public Safety Committee from the Rappahannock County Volunteer Fire and Rescue Association advised that Company 4 appears to lack standards of behavior and operation and failure to enforce their existing standards. See examples below. Company 4 member, not a firefighter or officer, radioed Fauquier Dispatch repeatedly requesting Company 4 be dispatched for a fire at Taps Ford Road. This disrupted Faulquier's call handling of emergencies. Warren County officially asked Rappahannock to stop repeatedly requesting Company 4 members to be added to mutual aid. Company 4 members bring in unrequested apparatus such as brush trucks for structure fires. Company 4 management allowing responding apparatus to misrepresent the number of trained personnel responding to fire calls. We have evidence that at least one Company 4 fire officer falsified his Firefighter 1 certification. It is alleged that senior officers of Company 4 were as aware as early as August 2019 of the falsified document and took no action. In the face of the falsified document, there was no way to make a qualified determination of the level of firefighters on the scene. The lack of credible training documents a large risk liability for other companies in the county, since incident command does not know who's qualified to be sent in a burning building. For the last half of 2019, numerous incidents of dangerous and illegal driving by Company 4 members while responding to POV were reported to the County Emergency Services Coordinator, the Sheriff, and other chiefs of the companies. The incidents including forcing a county school vehicle off the road. August 5th, 2021. EMESC Polster received a phone call from Warren County Sheriff's Office investigator advising that the Flint Hill Volunteer Fire Department member was previously convicted and currently under investigation for sexual contact with a minor. December 2nd, 2021. Serious incident report documented similar behavior that occurred on 01/30/20 when a fire chief self-dispatched to a chimney fire in Fauquier County. On 12/2/21, the fire chief self-dispatched his station to a brush fire in Fauquier County. The International Association of Fire Chiefs and National Volunteer Fire Council both opposed freelancing and self-dispatching. December 4th, 2021. SIR documented several unsafe acts when Flint Hill took children in the apparatus to a Christmas parade in Front Royal. Our insurance carrier, VFIS, advised through communication that significant liability was created when best practices were not followed. Children were allowed to ride on fire apparatus without defined policy, signed permission paperwork, and furthermore, the apparatus responded from Front Royal back to Rappahannock County for an emergency call while children were in the apparatus. The apparatus was not the closest unit, but responded back at the direction of the fire chief. September 16, 2021. Sheriff Compton spoke with a Flint Hill member, Hunter Alden, on the scene of a call where he took the ambulance by himself. She explained to him the liability and stated that Chief Williams told him to do it. An email was sent to Chief Williams and Tin Bills in reference to an incident where EMS 4 marked responding and drove ambulance 4 to the scene. This is a violation of Virginia State Code, adequate response staffing, was explained in an email. December 17, 2021. Rappahannock County Sheriff's Office was called to Flint Hill Volunteer Fire Department for a fight altercation between members on the front ramp. January 5th, 2022, citizen complaint regarding Chief Williams forwarded to Virginia Office of EMS for regulatory action. August 5th, 2022, Company 4, 1, EOS 1400 dispatch for an outside fire. Chief Williams advised dispatch to place all responding units in service as he was 5 minutes from the station to getting the unit out. Dispatch refused and kept all units responding en route, who were on the scene first. Item number 54 in the services agreement. The company shall aggressively work to recruit and train personnel and maintain a viable volunteer fire or rescue company in accordance with applicable laws, rules, and regulations of the Commonwealth of Virginia and Rappahannock County. 2015 JLN study. Morale is very low. There are a small number of active members, yet the department has many members on the roster. The study went on to say that the Flint Hill Fire Department is challenged to meet its response requirements due to the lack of volunteers who are qualified to perform work as emergency responders. In addition to determining the qualification process for new responders, it was related to JLN that no specific response rules are utilized by the Flint Hill Fire Department. It was explained that the chief utilizes a personal assessment of the individual and determines who can be recovered first responders. Unable to provide any examples through financial review or documentation of Flint Hill demonstrating aggressive work to recruit or train personnel and maintain viable fire and rescue companies. There's 2 charts here for public safety community review. Item number 57. Volunteer personnel of the company shall, so far as possible, provide 24-hour, 7-day-a-week coverage as required for response to incidents. The company shall ensure that volunteer personnel responding to incidents are trained and qualified in accordance with federal, state, or county requirements to perform required duties, and that all required licenses or certifications are maintained. February 19, 2020, in a letter to the Public Safety Committee from the Rappahannock Association, they advised that for the last half of 2019, Company 4's ambulance response rate was 38%. For the last half of 2019, Company 4's fire response rate was 77%. In 2021, second half of 2021, they had a 30% fail rate to respond for calls, and they had a 17% SUV response rate. The department responded to an SUV rather than the dispatch tactical unit. They failed to meet countywide objectives for response. Responded within 8 minutes, 90% of the time. Company 4 was at 80.46%. October 6, 2021, the Public Safety Committee voted to remove Flint Hill Fire Department from dual dispatch. January 18, 2022, Sheriff Compton sent a letter to the chiefs advising that they would be adding Company 1409 on all calls in Company 1404 area after reviewing numerous complaints and reviewing reports on the internal issues and staffing challenges. 2022 response data, January through November. January's ambulance response rate was 56.25%. Their fire response rate was 63.57%. Their fail to respond rate was 45.88%. And their SUV response rate was 11.76%. They failed to meet the countywide objective of being out the door 90% of the time. They were at 80.3%. November 17, 2022. Flint Hill Volunteer Fire Department was placed back on dual dispatch after reviewing fire rescue call data and speaking with Sheriff Compton and President Nick. Item number 59, the company shall maintain good financial practices including asset accountability. February 19, 2020, the Levy Public Safety Committee of Rappahannock County Association advised that in the recent audit for 2018, Company 4 was described by the auditors as having material weakness in their financial management practices. Work by the Fire Levy Board to assist Company 4 has revealed other troubling problems in financial accountability. The association's representative on the Fire Levy Board has been heavily involved in the effort. Evidence of the financial accountability issues have been given to the Fire Levy Board soon, or will be given soon. Excuse me. Company 4 has failed to file IRS 990 for calendar year 2018. 2019 Fire Department audit. Department's audit reported a deficiency in internal control and significant deficiency in addition to noting other matters involving internal control and operational matters. 2020 Flint Hill Fire Department audit. Consistent with the previous 2 years, the audit reported a deficiency in internal control and significant deficiency in addition to noting other matters involving internal control and other operational matters. Note, audits are typically performed every 2 years, but due to continued audit findings, Flint Hill is audited annually. Item number 65. The company shall submit their operational costs in a timely manner in accordance with fire levy guidelines and procedures. June 21, delay in receiving Flint Hill Fire Department's accounting information. June 22, 21, auditors requested additional auditing information. August 18, 2021, we received an email from the county auditors advising they have still had no response from Flint Hill Volunteer Fire Department and are awaiting documentation. They have not heard back since their last email of 6/25/21. Item number 66, challenges impacting the company's ability to meet the listed response standards will be brought to the association for review and assistance. On June 18, 2021, a meeting occurred with Flint Hill Volunteer Fire Department, Sheriff Compton, Chairwoman McConaughey, Mr. Curry, Chief Brown, Chief Williams, Tim Bills, President Sherry Hamill Huff, and Sean Polster. Topics included communication challenges, dispatch discussion with Flint Hill volunteers, iron responding, ambulance 4, and a roundtable. June 29, 2021. Flint Hill Volunteer Fire Department Tim Bills advised the Public Safety Committee meeting that they have requested help staffing twice from the county and not received it. Stated they are in dire need of assistance. September 18, 2021. Meeting at Flint Hill with Chairwoman McConaughey, Chief Williams, Tim Bills, ESC Polster about recent complaints. Tim Bills certifications, dropping EMS license for a second ambulance, and making a rehab unit. January 9, 2022. ESC Polster President Nick met with Company 4 leadership about having Flint Hill Fire Department challenges. Numerous questions were asked about the county taking administrative responsibilities of their ambulances. January 10, 2022. President Nick advised in an email that the Fire and Rescue Association Executive Committee met about the issues of Flint Hill, and the consensus among the committee was that we would be guided by our current bylaws, which state Article 12, Section 1, that the officers of this association shall have no power as such over the internal affairs of any member company, and let the Public Safety Committee address. January 14, 2022, ESC Polster President Nick and County Administrator Curry met with Flint Hill Fire Department leadership as a follow-up to the January 9th meeting. Answers to all the questions asked in the previous meeting were discussed with the county, and the association made it clear they are both here to ensure the success of Flint Hill. February 18, 2022, Flint Hill Volunteer Fire Department sent Rappahannock County VFRA and the county a letter asking for assistance. So that is the updated documentation to provide to the Public Safety Committee. At this time, I'd like to ask Chief Williams if he has anything additional he wants to add.
Yeah, I got a letter. We had a meeting the other day. And it's up to you. Having the complaints that was on that sheet, Sean, we have discussed, and I have explained it, and it was taken care of. I can have one of my members read it for you if you want.
Might be good, so the public can.
As you'll see, there's an attachment on the back that kind of addresses some of the complaints that, you read off there. I did not do all of the complaints. I picked some that, I was able to answer, and talking with Mike, that gives you some idea that we are trying to work on what's going on with the complaints, and we are trying to do the correct process. But the letter says, to the Rappahannock County Public Safety Committee, dear members of the board, the members of the Flint Hill Fire Department humbly come to you at this time in hopes that you are willing to help us get our affairs in order and become an asset to our community again. We feel the board we feel with the board and the county direction, we can be a productive part of the EMS world once again. We're aware and acknowledge all of the mistakes that we've made, the poor judgment that's been used in the past. Some of the things happened with past members whom are no longer in our organization. We can only say that it is our desire to earn the trust and the respect of the association and the board of supervisors and the people who serve on this committee. We are sorry that all of this has happened, but as you know, we've been under a lot of scrutiny and a lot of pressure to do what others thought we should do. Rumors that we've discussed with you all over the past few weeks. We know that we've listened to the wrong information at times, and it wasn't until Mr. Curry said to us in the last meeting to ask ourselves who has stepped up to the plate. That's when the buzzer went off. We realized that he is exactly right. We're not blaming our downfalls on anyone else, as we accept responsibility for our lack of knowledge. With that being said, we do truly believe that we were doing what we felt we needed to do in the field to save lives and fight fires. Were we lacking in the admin side of things because of the lack of training and knowledge? Absolutely. As much as it breaks our spirit to have to ask for this help, we know we have no choice with everything we're up against. This does not go without saying we really hope to be able to prove ourselves to you and the community once again that we're very serious about the well-being of our citizens in Rappahannock County. This is what we would like to propose to the board as a recommendation to the board of supervisors. We would like to partner with the county and run under your EMS license, starting with a period of 2 years as a pilot to ensure that we're in compliance and have the ability to gain the correct knowledge of the administrative side of the business. If the board has a better solution, we're open to listening. Why do we ask for the pilot program of 2 years? Because we hope at the end of 2 years, we've gained the knowledge and have our affairs in order that we may be able to obtain our rights once again. If in the end of 2 years, we have not met our obligations, then we'll go from there and come up with another plan of action. We're willing to do what has to be done. If that means to recruit someone with the knowledge to properly train us, then that's what we'll do. If it means our members go working with other county companies to gain knowledge, then we'll do that as well. We are not ready to give up. That's not an option. We have some good people in our organization, and this has been a lifelong commitment for some of our members. We need you to know that we're serious about correcting our mistakes and being able to hold our heads high again. We appreciate the direction from Mr. Curry, Mr. Polster, Mr. Nick, and Ms. Donahue over the past few weeks. It wasn't until our meeting on December 22nd when Mr. Polster and Mr. Nick spoke from the heart about the situation did we feel we could actually trust someone. We thank you both for that, and we know we have made poor judgments at times. We're hoping that we can come to an agreement that works for the best of all involved. We know that we have a lot of planning and details that we need to work out with the county to make this work, and we're ready to move forward with that as well. We truly believe that this is going to be a win-win situation for everyone involved, especially the citizens that we serve. As chief of the department, I've done my best that I can. Do I need to be a stronger leader and try not to be everyone's friend? Absolutely. I can only promise that I will do what I need to do to make us shine again. We hope you're still willing to work with us and accept our apologies for stubbornness, misunderstandings, and disregard we showed to you over the past several months. We look forward to working with you and hope we can resolve this situation. In the attachment, I kind of worked with somebody last night on that, and because we really didn't know what we needed to bring tonight. But the August 5th, 2021, when you received a phone call from the Warren County Sheriff's Office advising the member of Flint Hill Volunteer Fire and Rescue had a member that was previously convicted and under investigation, that member was immediately removed from our membership. We had no idea. He passed his background check and was accepted into the company, but I believe the arrest happened after he passed that background check. Once we found that out, he was immediately removed. December 4th, documented several unsafe acts in Flint Hill that took children in the apparatus to the fire parade about the insurance. That was addressed with these people, and those members are no longer in our department. September 16th Sheriff Compton spoke with Flint Hill, member Hunter, all on the scene of the call, and where he took the ambulance by himself. She explained the liability, and he said that Chief Williams told him to do that. Email sent to Chief Williams and Penn Bills in reference to the incident where EMS 4 Mark responding and drove ambulance 4 to the scene. This is in violation, and Hunter is no longer a member of our department, and once Sheriff Compton addressed the issues, we have ensured that this does not take place again. December 17th, Rappahannock Sheriff's Office was called to the station for a fight and altercation between members on the front ramp. Some of those members that were involved in that altercation are no longer members. The member who started the altercation is the one person who called the sheriff's office, and she is the person that the deputy made leave that night, leave the premises. This member caused a lot of trouble between members and overstepped her authorized boundaries more than one time, so that's why she's no longer a member. Citizen complaint regarding Chief Williams responding to VA OEMS for regulatory action. That was a false complaint against Chief Williams. The complaint was made by one of our own members, the same problem member causing the altercation on December 17th. She accused Chief Williams of running a call after being exposed to COVID. There was no validation to that complaint. 2019, the audit reported a deficiency in internal control and significant deficiency. In addition, noting other matters involving internal control and operational matters. Our answer to that is we've hired a bookkeeper to work closely with us to ensure that our books are being done in accordance with what is required of us, including the fire levy reports. These are some examples of what we've worked on so far to correct some of our downfalls. We're continuing to try to improve our situation here at Company 4, and there are a lot of other things that we are addressing to work and working on to correct. That's our heart on the sleeve. Do we want to give up? No, absolutely not. And we're willing to sit with you guys, whoever we have to sit with, to get this much straightened out. And if you will give us a chance, we'll do our best. I mean, like I said, it breaks our spirit to have to ask. But as we said in the letter, a lot of the members are gone. We have new people in there now. We have people that are willing to take the training. We have Tawana and Joe who have done their EMTs. They're getting ready to do their get their calls in or whatever. I'm not real sure what all is involved in that, but they know and that they're working on it. Mike needs to get some more training for his EMS, but she's talked to Jamie Carter about that. And we're just here at your mercy. So I don't know what else anybody else has to offer.
Thank you, Ms. Sutton.
I mean, to acknowledge that I understand how hard it is to write a letter like that and to look critically at yourself, and I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. I think it is unfortunate that it seems like it takes an 11th hour heroic to find direction.
Right.
But I think it is very healthy that you're trying to look honestly at the capability and condition of the company. I think challenges all around, obviously, for every company.
And I mean, it's been going on for a very long time, very long time. And I guess with me being a new member, I guess I'm just confused. Why did the county give so many chances and not do something for them? And now all of a sudden, we're, as you said, in the 11th hour, we have to do something. We owe it to the people of Flint Hill and the surrounding community there. We can't give up. I mean, we have to do something to straighten this out. Whether it be, and I don't know if it's an option, if we can't do the EMS thing, can we be like Stereo and be firearms? I don't know. I don't know how any of that works. But we definitely are have members in there who are dedicated now, I believe, and want this to survive. I mean, I know I haven't been in any of your meetings, but I know they've been part of it, and I know that they haven't listened. But, I think they've come to realize now that no matter what rumors were out there, you guys are not here to shut them down and take what they own or whatever. I don't even know, but it's, you know, I really feel that, you know, we owe it to the citizens to try to get this straightened out.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. So just to remind the Public Safety Committee of what our charge was tonight, just rereading this, it says during the most recent Board of Supervisors meeting, the board voted unanimously to assign the Public Safety Committee to reviewing and considering the current performance and capability of Company 4, Flint Hill Volunteer Fire Department, and reporting recommendations back to the board at or before their January 4th meeting. So that's the charge of the Public Safety Committee before it tonight. I don't know if it's easier to break it up into chunks rather than trying to bite the elephant all at one time. However, the Public Safety Committee deems it appropriate to move forward.
So you tell them one by one.
Okay. Where would you want to start? Would you want to start with the agreement? Would you want to start with, how do you want to?
I'm just going to respond.
Oh, okay.
Sure, I'll just respond. Start off with the complaints and the list you have. I have my notes here. Just want to add one thing to what Ms. Sullivan just stated, and go back to what Mr. Curry said, it's sad that it had to come to the 11th hour. I want you all to know this, that's sitting in this room. We have been here the entire time. We have stressed this to that young man sitting on that back row. It is all that information fell on deaf ears because of background rhetoric and false information. We have been here.
And not only, if I could speak this right, not only was he getting backlash from outside of our department, but we had a lot of members that didn't want to agree either. I mean, you know, but we had talked to them, and we told them, you know, you have to do this. You do not have to do this, you have to do this.
I got one question. Chief Williams, I know your aunt just read this letter, but do you firmly believe this in your heart that you can make it happen, sir?
Absolutely, yes.
What is your plan moving forward to make this happen?
We got a bunch of rules set in place now, and, I got a great bunch of people right here.
How many great people? Certified firefighters, EMTs?
Firefighters, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 firefighters, EMTs, I'm the only, I guess, released EMT, I guess, you can say, until I get my, release papers from Dr. Jinks and everybody, but, Juana, Joe, and Beth, they had to get their calls in.
So I do need to ask to expand. Who's certified firefighter able to even make an exterior attack, let alone an interior attack, other than yourself?
Exterior deck?
Interior. Very good interior firefighter.
Interior.
He has a massive beard on the other night, I don't see him going to fire.
3.
Right, who?
Me, Sammy, and Randy Norman.
Sammy, back, Randy.
The one with the big Santa Claus beard the other night, who didn't fit in the mask?
Sir, we was on a fire call the other day, and noticed that one other member from a different department, he had a thicker beard than Santa Claus himself.
Okay, let's not.
I understand.
Let's stop right here.
So that might work for exterior.
It might work for exterior, but let's not point fingers at other departments right now. We're here to discuss Flint Hill. Let's stay on track with Flint. Okay.
So if I can ask real quick, just to bring everything back to order. Company 4's had an opportunity to speak. I think it's now an opportunity for the Public Safety Committee members to figure out how we want to do this. I know you were speaking, so I apologize if if I interrupted you.
No, I'm good. I said all I want to say. At that point.
Okay, I apologize. I'm sorry if I interrupted you.
No, you're right. It's all good.
Can I ask one other thing?
Give me 1 second, let me make sure everybody on the public safety committee has a chance to speak first, and then I'll circle back around in a second, okay? Ms. Donahue?
First of all, thank you for speaking and putting that together. Really do appreciate all the volunteers you all have. The problem I have, unfortunately, is I've been listening to a lot of this because I was on the fire levy board my first year on the board. And so got heavily involved in something that I'm passionate about. No, I don't run calls, but I do believe in our volunteer system, and I want to make sure we can do as much as we can to keep volunteers working side by side with the paid. It's the only way it's gonna work in this county. The problem is, it's the same story, year after year after year. And to me, the problem is the leadership. And I'm sorry to be honest and direct, but I have to at this point. When you don't have strong leadership, you lose good people. You have good people that don't want to come in because the training's not there, the process isn't there, the procedure's not there. People are scared they're gonna get hurt, because other people maybe not trained at the same level. I mean, this is life and death for the volunteer, it's life and death for the citizen. And that's where I have to come from. This is 100% citizen safety. You're a citizen. The person you're trying to save is a citizen. And it's just the same story over and over again. And I can't in good conscience just say this is okay, we're gonna try it again. You know, I feel like we really have. I was my first year on the public safety committee. But I know Sheriff Compton has given feedback. I know everybody here has given feedback. This isn't a one-time, nobody said anything, and now all of a sudden the heck is hitting the fan. This has been going on for at least 3 years, and now it looks like 2015, the message was there, and I'm sorry that the leadership didn't do anything in 2016, but I can't help the past, I can help the future. And in my mind, we have got to do something different than the same thing over and over again, or we're all gonna go insane. Sorry, I don't know much of a question.
Sheriff Compton?
I think we're just, I think we're sitting here beating a lack of better words, a dead horse in the head. We have dealt with this probably, I don't know, 8, 9 years now, and it's always been the same thing. So I think the board needs to make a decision on what we're gonna do and stop rehashing this every time we have a meeting. We, you know, the list here of what you've just kept, documentation on, as I think Norma Jean said earlier, we have given chance after chance after chance, and it just continues. So I think the board needs to make a decision whether we're gonna make a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors, or we're gonna be talking about this in another 5 years. You know, the citizens, as Norma Jean said, the citizens in Flint Hill deserve good service. I can tell you from my dispatchers being on the phone when people are calling and wanting to know where the ambulance is, and the dispatchers are saying they're on the way, and the second dispatcher is retoning and retoning and retoning, it's hard on them, because the citizens are begging them for services that they're not getting. So I think the board needs to make a decision and be done with it, instead of constantly having meeting after meeting after meeting and rehashing the same problem.
Thanks, Sheriff Compton. Mr. Cribb?
It's a delicate balance of fostering this extremely independent volunteer network, providing citizens citizen taxpayer support to try to make that work as well as it can, while also starting to move into the supplement process, which has been happening with the ALS 1400 for EMS and limited fire support. And I've said ever since I got here 5 years ago, we want the volunteer companies to be successful. That's our goal. Always has to be our number one goal, always has to be our number one option, is what can we do to make the companies successful. I found myself thinking as Sean was reading through the list of issues, and then so you were providing some responses that this issue happened and it was immediately resolved, this issue happened and it was resolved. That backing up what Chair Donahue said, how are these things allowed to happen in the first place? And that's culture, leadership, development of the body. And while we would hope that none of those specific things would happen again, because a very specific lesson was learned, I just don't know that I have the faith that there's the culture in place to foster the environment to grow forward. And that is totally opposed to my thoughts of top goal is to make the volunteer company successful. And, you know, I struggle with that. And is there a way that we can accomplish both goals? I just don't know. I do know that it's very important for the citizens that Flint Hill Final Culture Fire and Rescue Company, whatever you call yourselves now, is there. And there are vehicles there, and there are people there to serve those people, those that are close by, whether the citizens or visitors. I'm really struggling how to get there in a way that is sustainable long-term for the community, in a way that is in keeping with some sort of holistic long-term plan that the county citizens through the Board of Supervisors can support. I just don't know.
Thank you, sir. So in 33 years of fire and rescue, I've said this to you at your meeting, this job owes you nothing. You owe it everything, every day. It's hard. I've struggled how to help. I've reached out to a lot of people. And in 33 years, I've built this network. And I've talked to a lot of volunteer, career, combination departments to try to figure out how we can get you back on track, which is one of the reasons why we met with you so many times early on when the state came in. It's unfortunate, again, like Mr. Nick said, that other departments interjected their opinions when they could have put Ainsville on the side of the unit instead of the county. And anybody could have stepped in to assist you. Please know that, you know, we've tried. I think we're at a critical juncture right now that, you know, do we continue to put effort or put career staff in your station? Like I said at the meeting the other night, I do not have the confidence that if we put career staff in your station, that they're safe, healthy, and welfare, that's in the best interest of them and the county. I do think that your station needs assistance and needs career staff. Under the current management or the current leadership, I don't see that as a viable option. I apologize, I've toiled with that, I've talked to so many people. I struggle with trying to figure out how to best assist. And I think that, you know, this has occurred prior to me even coming on, and now we're trying, like we said, we're keep rehashing definitions and Sandy's doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. And we're getting the same result every time. And I don't know that there's leadership in place to make the changes that are needed. So that'd be my kind of comments at this point. Ms. Settle, do you have one other thing you wanted to add, ma'am?
I did, the state police investigation that's going on about the, member that falsifies his records. And it says in there that, leadership knew about that and didn't do anything about it. That is not totally true. When the leadership found out about it, they addressed it. They had to prove it. They could not just So calls were made to Richmond, to get the information. They sat down with Kevin Williams, Kevin was here. And I would think that Kevin could attest to the fact that the right things were done when all that took place and the member was asked to leave. But that was a total, I mean, they totally investigated inside the department to make sure that they were doing the right thing before they addressed this person. And that, like I said, I think Bruce was chiefed in. He went to Kevin Williams and they sat down and they took care of it. So it's not that leadership didn't do what they were supposed to do, to make sure that that was taken care of. It's unfortunate. It's really sad in my mind that someone wants to be a firefighter so bad that they have to lie, and they have to do that, and we in no way condone that. Had we known that's what he had done, he would have never made it through the door, but, I mean, you have to trust people until they prove you wrong. And, had we not gotten it, wherever that information came from, I don't even know how they found out that he lied or didn't have the training. You know, what do you, I mean, how do you handle a situation like that? I mean, but they did the best they could do. I mean, he's not there. They got rid of him immediately. He was asked to leave, not come back on the premises. And, I mean, I see that it's possible he could get charged with felony. And if that's what they need to do, that's what they need to do. But it was addressed, and it was addressed with Kevin Williams here in the county. And he had, I guess, the position. So, I mean, there have been corrective measures to a lot of that stuff that's on that complaint. Is there a lot more that needs to be cleaned up? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll be the first to tell you, I mean, Mike, has been dedicated. Mike has tried. But Mike, and I don't mean this to be mean, maybe he's not the strongest leader, but he's all we got. He's all we got. Nobody else wants to step up to the plate, take that responsibility. Nobody else wants to step up to the plate to take the beating down that he's gotten. Has he made mistakes? Absolutely. Absolutely. But he's trying to be everybody's friend as well. And in the volunteer organization, if you got people in your organization and they think you're not your friend, they're gonna work against you. And that's exactly what some of those members did. They worked against him and tore him apart. And, I mean, there is a lot of things that went on there that did happen. But some of that stuff I have to question, you know. As far as the audits and things like that, you know, that, I don't know anything about that. I wouldn't remember. But, it's hard to be a volunteer and be in a situation like he is. And like we talked the other night, there's been no proper training as far as the admin side, as far as I'm concerned. But that doesn't mean that we're not willing to, maybe we'll be like Sperryville and we'll bring somebody in there and we'll pay out of our pocket to get the stuff done that needs to be done, and that's kind of what I'm playing back on. I mean, we talked about that, last night, night before last, in our meeting, Monday night. And, you know, it's not out of the picture that we wouldn't do something like that. We're willing to do the fundraisers to pay for it, you know. I understand you guys are up against a lot and you've got big decisions to make, and, there is trust issues, and I can understand that.
Thank you, Ms. Sutton. I think that's one of the things that the public safety community needs to take consideration is the lack of a bench, lack of depth, to be able to answer the community service calls, as, you know, the board of supervisors asked us, current forms of capability. So I think that's one of the things that we're considering right now too, so thank you. Back to the board, or back to the community, public safety committee, I apologize. Board. Go ahead.
You go ahead.
I didn't know if it was easier to break these items down into individual areas to action, or if there was an overall, if you wanted to say that.
You mean service agreement items?
Yeah,
That way, or?
if you would, I can probably sum it up. It's unfortunate it's come to this time. It's unfortunate that this committee has to make a decision to go to the board of supervisors. But what everyone in this room must remember is we have to look out for the the utmost responsibility, our utmost responsibility is to look out for who? It's for the citizens of Rappahannock County. Okay? If we continue to kick this can down the road per se, in 90 days, we'll be back revisiting most likely the same thing. I went back in the spring, with Mr. Polster and myself, and sat down with members of Flint Hill. Some things were discussed about administrative operations and operations as well. It's unfortunate that those opportunities weren't taken advantage of at that time. Now, we've waited 8 months later, and it seems as though the bad information is compounded and compounded and compounded, of which me being the current president for the next few days of the association, I have to represent the association, 7 companies, but I also say here to represent the 7,000 plus citizens of this county. This is not easy. Flint Hill was an aspiring place when I came here in 1989, one of the biggest departments around. You know, you had the Frank Huffs, you know, you had your Charlotte and Buddy Turnmeyers, you had the biggest parade with Mo, and everything going on. And it's unfortunate that it's fallen to this. You know, disregard the children riding on the fire truck during the parade. A lot of volunteer companies have done that in the past. Okay. A lot of volunteers who were young passed and drove reckless to get to the fire station. Me probably being one at 16 and 17 years old. Okay, I probably even did it in my 20s. But push that aside, and we have more things here that, more meat of the matter that I think that we need to get to. Falsified documents, I sat in on that meeting. One of the biggest things is the falsified documents. You let your EMS license expire. Your reports weren't done properly. And one of the biggest things, think of this, $400,000 of taxpayer dollars was given to Flint Hill, and you've had accounting problems for the last 4 years and been audited for 4 years and will be audited for the 5th year when you only should be audited every 2 years. It's a lot of money, a lot of money. So with that said, I'll put this in motion. I'm gonna request be sent to the Board of Supervisors as requested by Special Agent Galton with State Police a forensic audit of Flint Hill's books, which is provided under paragraph 63 of the service agreement, which states that they shall permit the county or its representatives to direction the Board of Supervisors to inspect the audit from the business records as necessary to protect the interests of the public. On top of that, I request that the Board of Supervisors immediately cease all funding to Flint Hill Volunteer Fire and Rescue Department due to its inability to keep good financial records. Followed by that under paragraph 50, which states that the company shall have control of its operations, which is obvious from the timelines broke down that there's no control of that department. Paragraph 54, which states that they must maintain a viable volunteer fire and rescue company, which I feel that they have not. And paragraph 48, which states that they should satisfactorily meet and maintain national standards, which has been demonstrated by them losing their EMS license. And furthermore, they have violated the contract, which is a service agreement with the county.
I'm gonna try to summarize this, and Art, tell me if I get it wrong. So the motion from Mr. Nick was a forensic audit under, section 63 services agreement per VSP request. As prescribed under section 63 of the services agreement. Yes. Cease all funding to Flint Hill Fire Department due to multiple audits.
That's fundraising, correct? Or funding?
Funding.
Cease all operational funding.
Okay.
Assuming county, taxpayer funding.
Correct. Reiterate that on paragraph 50, which states the company shall have control of its operations, which is obvious from the timeline I referred to. Paragraph 54, which means that they shall maintain a viable Volunteer Fire and Rescue Company. Paragraph 59, maintain that they shall maintain good financial practices, including asset accountability. And paragraph 48, which states that they shall satisfactorily meet and maintain state and national standards.
And then the last thing was that they violated the services agreement.
They violate service agreement by all those paragraphs, those few paragraphs, which I think are more the meat of the matter.
So motion was made by Mr. Nick. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Sheriff Compton. Discussion?
I'd like to ask, what would be necessary to remedy, to change a recommendation? Obviously, which couldn't happen today, but what would have to happen? Is it possible?
I did not see it.
6 months from now, or a year from now, or something, is it different leadership, is it
And to
a
be honest,
combination of multiple things?
to be honest with Curry, and reiterate what Ms. Donahue has stated, I realize the amount of administrative paperwork that goes on with a volunteer fire and rescue department, and it's an enormous amount, okay? Not pointing fingers, Ms. Settle has stated that Chief Williams has done the best that he can do. We realize that there's probably people at that department that does not have the ability to do that. If they were, once this goes to the Board of Supervisors, if they would sit down with the Board of Supervisors and put a plan together, and some people from the Flint Hill area would step up and say that we're gonna do it, then so be it. But if they don't at that point, then I think the county needs to take additional steps forward. But I firmly believe in my heart, as Ms. Donahue stated, that Chief Williams has done all he can do. And I don't know that there's anyone there, it's basically not a full-time job, but it's a job that you have to stay on as a chief, as a president of a company.
As the bench gets shelled, or the work on fuel gets massive.
It gets massive, correct. And, you know, I just don't know, I know he's more than willing, trust me, I know this, but he's gonna have to have some assistance, and, you know, that's a recruitment and retention issue there that needs to be discussed. But I think at this point, we cannot continue to funnel money to Flint Hill, and what are we doing?
Could, let me ask you a question. Could we ask for an amendment to the motion to add in legal counsel to examine options under Virginia Code?
Well, I don't think we need to do that. The legal counsel's gonna do that anyway, before the board makes any decision. So I think that's kind of baked in.
Okay.
Part of this, correct me if I'm wrong, when you're looking at the overall strategic plan for the county-wide plan, there may be something that comes out of that, could, you've got a great building and a great location with a lot of equipment, I mean, maybe there's a possibility out of the strategic plan conversation that there's opportunities that arise. I don't wanna just say that,
Well, you know, I think there are very quick things that could happen administratively. And we've talked over and over again about having multiple volunteer companies here in the county. And any one of them could basically step in as a white knight and merge. And you then have their board who's capable and competent, and you're marching forward. And it doesn't take the county to do those things. So I do think that's one very simple solution. And I think, as I noted earlier, so many things have happened, whether it's the licensing, that you rely on a piece of paper instead of the state online system. You should know what you have to rely on, but you didn't. So you rely on a piece of paper, and that gets you in trouble. Or the certification. So I don't think that the current organization has the capacity to pull it out. We've been having this conversation, it's just been different people at the table cycling through this group of members, this next group of members, this next group of members. We just seem to be having the same conversation like the sheriff noted, and, that said, I don't like the idea of ending all funding because, even in a mothballed state, the entity requires funding to not deteriorate. That's something the board will have to take into mind. Even if they didn't run a single call, you need to keep the apparatus fresh, building fresh.
I realize that, but when you say the apparatus, fresh, Mr. Curry, they currently don't have but one EMT.
I agree.
That's why I said you've got 2 ambulances sitting there that are being housed and can be utilized, and we've got 3 firefighters, and all 3 have heaters. I'm not certified interior firefighter. And we're pulling money in a hole to do what? And I hate to say this, to ride Santa Claus around on Christmas Eve and to attend parades.
All valid.
Any other discussion on the motions on the floor? So again, to say that, we've had 8 to 9 months, Flint Hill's had 8 to 9 months of breaking back since the last, we've had nothing, and we actually, the last meeting last week, provided something, and you showed up tonight with it, so it's unfortunate. Without further discussion, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Recommendation be made to the board of supervisors. Next item on the agenda is the EMS response plan. The last meeting, the board updated, the public safety committee updated on the EMS response plan. You want to?
Yeah, I can,
send an
sure.
email?
I just